이 게임 안에선 모두가 평등해. 참가자들 모두가 같은 조건에서 공평하게 경쟁하지. 바깥 세상에서 불평등과 차별에 시달려온 사람들에게 평등하게 싸워서 이길 수 있는.
Squid Game is a Netflix-produced TV series released in 2021 and created by Hwang Dong-hyo. It's due to have its second season release later this year. The clip you just saw was from the perspective of the frontman, who outlines his intention behind the games. He feels as though that the hierarchy in South Korea puts people in a disadvantage, that the opportunity presented in the games gives contestants an equal chance to win billions of won and escape poverty. This is simply not true. Squid Game showcases through the hierarchy of power between contestants, guards, the frontman, and the VIPs that they are not all equal in the games, that this is something that director Hwang Dong-hyo wanted audiences to implicitly connect to his personal views and values, to the discourse surrounding South Korean society, with issues that South Korea, as the frontman said explicitly, that real-world people face inequality and discrimination. Like with any media product, the codes and conventions the director selectively chooses to utilize gives meaning to the audience. For those unaware, commonly codes are reflected as the acronym CAMELS: camera, acting, mise-en-scène, lighting, and sound. Conventions are typically reflected as the acronym COMPES: cause and effect, opening, development and resolution, multiple storylines, point of view, establishment and development of characters, setting and structuring of time. The plot plays out with the usage of multiple storylines, a convention typically utilized for TV series, and point of view, shifting between the main point of view and storyline of protagonist Gi-hoon as he navigates the games and attempts to win the billions of won, and besides storyline of protagonist Jun-ho, as he tries to find his brother who he thinks has been killed in the games. Jun-ho pulls off infiltration, and this usage of multiple storylines allows the audience to gain a reading for the different parts of the games. Gi-hoon focusing on the contestants and their struggle to survive, and Jun-ho focusing on the increased opulence and power of each individual part of the start of the games, or as revealed, lack thereof. Codes-wise, these can be analysed and constructed in certain scenes. The first scene showcasing both the contestants and the guards in Season 1, Episode 1, Red Light, Green Light, utilises camera, mise-en-scène, and acting, constructing implicit connections of this hierarchy, but also an explicit showcase of power. Contestants wake up in a giant room, highlighted by the long shot that highlights the sheer size of the room, the mise-en-scène implicitly constructing them as prisoners. They wear jumpsuits, sleep in bunk beds, and have no real way to leave the room, as even without bars, it's quite clear they're trapped in there. The close-ups of Gi-hoon highlight his confusion and fear, mouth agape and eyes wide. The audience then realizes that, despite the cheery, diegetic soundtrack playing in the background, that this is a confusing and somewhat creepy environment, and the killing hasn't even started yet. Dong-hyo is implicitly placing the connection to the audience that the contestants are effectively prisoners. Later in this same scene, the pink soldiers make their formal introduction to the contestants. Unlike the contestants, they are fully aware of the situation. They act almost robotically, posture straight, every movement with purpose. The audience then gets the sense that these pink soldiers are not to be trusted and that they act as foot soldiers for the higher-ups at this establishment. Furthermore, the camera highlights the power imbalance to the audience. The shots open with a low angle, then cut to a high angle, highlighting their power and control. However, the pink soldiers are merely grunts, and with set design, we showed in Season 1, Episode 3, The Men with the Umbrella, that they are almost in the same poor living conditions as the contestants. It's their boss, the frontman, who was the one to state that the contestants have an equal chance in the games, but he himself is effectively on top. In the second scene with the frontman, a bird's eye view shot showcases him literally walking on top of the identities of the contestants. As later shown, he lives in a room of pure gold, which is how he views the games. But compared with what the pink soldiers live in, he's living lavishly. As introduced in Season 1, Episode 7, titled VIPs, the frontman's true goals are to serve the VIPs. The VIPs are split from the staff like the contestants, but instead of playing the games, the camera shows them with a mid-shot as they watch, from a distance, disconnected. They casually flaunt their opulence, symbolic codes of costume highlighting their golden masks and the night suits that adorn their bodies. They act out and get physically angry, pointing and screaming when a contestant commits suicide, just because they lost their bet on whether the contestant would win. Audiences can then see that the VIPs are explicitly cruel with their money, and can therefore link it explicitly to the discourse surrounding inequality. Later in the episode, we also get a glimpse of the VIP's rooms, which to contrast with the contestants are colourful, freeing, and brightly lit with extravagant chandeliers. To conclude, the hierarchy of the show outlines that this system of inequality still remains ever present in the games, and does not go away. The employment of codes of camera, mise-en-scène, and acting highlight inequality and common TV conventions of multiple storylines and point of view, intertwining the main narrative of Squid Game, aiding the audience to understand events as they happen. And with these in mind, the audience can link this implicitly to the show's theme of explicit hierarchy and the frontman's statement of South Korea's explicit wealth inequality. The frontman is wrong. The games are just like South Korean society, unequal and unfair, regardless of what he says.